Hello, good morning and welcome back to Family Law Assistance. We help you represent yourselves in court, getting you the results without the hefty price tag. You know who, what, why, where, when and how like that, but sometimes you need a little help gathering yourself through the minefield that is family court. I am joined today by the oldies and the goodies. Gemma and Jodie, and they were the original franchisees. But actually, I think Gemma, you and I kind of go back way back before Jodie. So tell me a little bit, just tell everybody who you are and how we met and how you decided to come to do this industry in the first place.
Okay, thanks for that great introduction, Michaela. The oldies and the goodies. I am the oldie and the goodie in the sense that I'm not old, but like you quite rightly said, I've been with Family Law Assistance since June 2019. So this is going back over 2 years ago when I first did my training with you. This really was before all the franchise thing came along, really, for want of a better word. Why did I get into it? Very, very simply, through personal experience. I had my own personal experience of going through family court many years ago, back in 2006, when, this is how long ago it was, legal aid was still a thing. So I had a traditional legal aid family law solicitor for child contact issues for my son that was 11 months old at the time. Fast forward another 13 years, my partner was going through a similar thing, trying to get access to his daughter. Long story short, he sacked his legal team, basically. After £15,000-20,000 in, he sacked his legal team just before the final hearing. And I thought, we can do this better. And I started to really do some research into how can you represent yourself in family court. And then I came across a thing called Mackenzie Friends, which was like, what's that, basically? Started looking into it, had a little chat to a few Mackenzies. Long story short, I gathered all these evidence for the final hearing. We got a Mackenzie friend to write a position statement, or family law advisor, as we're called, and we got everything we wanted, basically. And then I thought, I can do that. So that's how I came to you. But what I really did before I sort of invested my time and money into, getting this gig up and running, for want of a better word, I spoke to a lot of people, but Michaela was you were the one that I gelled with, basically. In fact, it was the hardest interview I've ever had. I was like, whoa, hang on a minute. What's this? I didn't even think it was going to be an interview situation. I was like, oh, God. And the rest is history, as they say.
Brilliant. And Jodie, it was weird because until recently, me and you were no more than this big on a screen.
Yes. Well, I mean, I did my training April last year with you, and obviously, literally, COVID lockdown hit the week we were supposed to do our face-to-face training. Right. So I think I was the first person you did the training with via Zoom, as I remember. And it was a bit like, is this going to work? And I had the dog barking in the background and the kids, because I didn't know, I had the kids at home, which was just, didn't even comprehend that was ever going to happen. But anyway, we did it and it was no different. Training, and I've still grown as I should have done, whether we met face to face. And then we had the pleasure of meeting a few weeks ago, which was really nice. But yeah, it's really strange to know someone online and then meet them. But it worked. It still worked.
Yeah. So Jodie, for those of the like, who doesn't know you at this point, but what was your background and what made you decide to come into this industry?
So background, I've had my own beauty business for 20 years. Hair and beauty was my background. And I had 2 children, split up with them. Luckily, didn't have to do with anything court related with contact, but I did have to go through the non-molestation route. And there was just no support. It was one of the hardest things that it was really difficult to get a non-mol, and it just boggled my mind because the paperwork, if you read it, you'd have thought they'd have gone like that. I mean, for sort of 10 years, you can get a non-mol like a Smartie now, because the court system has changed. But I learned a lot, and I've got knowledge that is just not readily available from doing a lot of research. I was then married, I got divorced. I sound like I've got a right life, don't I? This is the tip of the iceberg, though, let me tell you, it's juicy. And with him, we had shared residency with his children, heavy Kafka's involvement, court cases, da-di-da-di-da-da. A lot of it was done before I was on the scene, I have to be fair and say that, but I did a lot of reading. Anyway, my background, I always wanted to be a lawyer. And when I was 15, when I was 11, I got a job in a hairdresser, so I was earning money. By 15, I was cutting hair and putting tints on because I just learn't it. So being a lawyer just seemed really like out there. And I never did it again. And it was one thing I always wanted to do. And then I discovered I could do it through Open Uni. So I'm just going into my 3rd year now. And I thought, what can I do to get experience here? Because in law, you need experience. It doesn't matter what bit of paper you've got. If you've got no experience, it's not worth the ink that's printed it. So I did research, found out again about support for litigants in person, and I did research. I spoke to quite a few people before I decided, and Michaela's training was somewhat more expensive, but I knew hands down that it was the best thing to do. I could have done a couple of courses for a couple of £100, I think one of them was. But I knew that when I spoke to Michaela on the phone, as Gemma said, I knew where my bread was going to be buttered. There was just no doubt in my mind. And as well, something we didn't even know about was the franchise. That was before the franchise. Mm-hmm. So just to put it into perspective, Gemma and I came on board this business long before there was any actual infrastructure in place. Just, we done it and we trusted it before there was this opportunity that we've got now.
So both of you, Gemma first, what made you do the leap to say, yes, I'm going to join up and be part of a franchise? Because you're right, because way back when I spoke to you, Gemma and Jodie, this was before the concept of us branching out into a franchise even started. So what made you, and I know, and FYI, of course, I personally picked you, but why did you say yes?
It was really for me, it was a no-brainer. Like Jodie's just said, we did our training and we had to hit the ground running in real life situations. I was into court within my first couple of weeks out of training. So when the franchise came along, I thought, well, really, it's a no-brainer. I've got nothing to lose because I'm doing it anyway. And like Jodie just quite rightly said, what we were doing it with almost without the infrastructure. There was a little bit of infrastructure in place, but this allowed me to have a franchise that was a real life working business with all the infrastructure and support and training in place. Because one of the other things that I've gained through being a franchisor for the last 12 months is there's ongoing training. We have trainings twice a month, so that's invaluable. We're always learning, and that's really important. But take the business out of it. Why did I really want to do it? Because I wanted to make a change and I wanted to help people.
Yeah, and we hear that a lot. How about you, Jodie? What made you take the leap?
Yeah, it was like, as Gemma's just said. Now everything was there. It was just that solid business model that I didn't have to build. So I just learned something. I've built a business. I've built multiple businesses, and I know how hard it is to be offered in a bundle for a set fee, a business. I'd have been an idiot not to take it. Everything was done for me. And I mean, and the support. I was in a hearing the other week that went completely the way I didn't think it was going to go. And I think we're quite good at reading situations. And even Michaela was like, "What?" And it's like, I've got no questions. What do I do? Wallop. 10 minutes later, questions are there, ready for me to go on. I could think off the cusp, but it's having that backup to know you're on the right path. You've got to remember we're dealing with a very, very, very sensitive situation here, and we want to be in control and get the best results. It's that support network. I was talking about it with somebody yesterday, one of my lash clients, funnily enough, and they sort of said, well, how does it work? And I said, it's a business in a bag, if you like. My website's done. My page is done. The basis is done. I've got to just fluff it up every now and again, if that makes sense. Yeah, you've still got to network it. You've still got to grow it. You've still got to be available, but you've got the tools to do it. I mean, if anyone's thinking about starting their own business in anything, do some research and just look at how much it costs you to start. That's fun. Finding a good web designer, finding someone who can teach you what to do, finding someone who knows about the SEO of a web. That's just 3 things that blows my mind. That was all done for me. It was done. The process sheets, the templates for statements. So you know that every time if someone can email me at 5 o'clock and I can have a statement ready by 9 o'clock in the morning because it's there. It's a business in a bag. It's done. It's ready to go.
And, you know, you talk about, because, I mean, but we see a lot of each other, really. I mean, we have the weekly catch-ups. You see a lot of this face. You see a lot of Stephen. Talk us through what it's been like this past year with the business, being part of the family. Tell me about it.
My personal experience this past year, I had a lot of stuff going on personally. So I took a business on and then it hit the fan in a serious way, personal problems at home. But even with all of that going on, I still managed to tick over. And even the support in my own personal life was there, and the understanding with everybody. There was no pressure. It was, look, you do what you've got to do. You know, it's my business. I'm in control of it, but the support was there as well. And I think that is just second to none. And it's been a weird year for everybody with COVID, but we've managed to keep contact with people, still help loads of people at a time where it's been so unprecedented, and we're able to still do what we can do and still get results that we want, both individually and collectively. It's been a weird year, but it's been when I look back over the last year and actually do a reflective time, it's been a good year. It's been good for us all, I think. We've grown a lot in a year.
Yeah, I agree. Gemma, what about you?
So I'll second that, really. And by default, I think I always say to people, COVID created a lot of things, but what it also created was a lot of jobs and a lot of opportunities. And for myself personally, I was thinking about what could I do that was going to be COVID proof. This is a COVID proof business. And the way that it just sort of rolled out from the in-person hearings to the teleconferencing and obviously the lives, or for want of a better word, the teams or whatever they do in courts, really was a blessing in disguise in a way, because it took my business from just being a little northwest of England business to whole of the UK, you know. So, for example, I'm in court next week, but it's in London, you know. In pre-COVID times, I'd have to get on a train, travel 4 hours, do all this, go down the night before. Now I just whack in the witness statement and we rock up in court. So, you know, it's like Ju said, it's a business in a bag, but it's a COVID-proof business as well, because COVID's not over by any stretch of the imagination.
No, absolutely not.
But let's talk about COVID for a second, okay? Because, you know, sometimes I feel, especially in business and when we're all running our own lives, that it's kind of like the elephant in the room, because COVID affected so many lives. You know, the number of people now that can neither afford nor want to spend the traditional £250 an hour plus VAT on a solicitor has seen us as a team grow in business. But you are right, it had so many opportunities, but it affected so many lives. Talk me through, from your personal point of view, what you've seen, how it's affected people, the people that you guys are in court with, the emotions that you guys have had to deal with. Just tell me, just give us a snapshot into that. Jodie.
Well, first of all, I saw people get separated, divorced that I never thought would because of COVID. Had inquiries from people that I just thought, wow, I would put money on the fact that you were never going anywhere. And as well, as a side with this side of the emotion's been a little bit more difficult, because sometimes when you just want to sort of say to someone, oh, come on, I've got your back, we've had to do that virtually, which is all very strange for people. But everyone's learning, aren't they? But yeah, it's been a weird one, like we just said. It's emotionally, it's taken its toll, and I think people have struggled to mature emotionally over a situation, because it's something we've never dealt with before. So, you know, ordinarily you separate, you have time apart. People couldn't do that. We separate and living separately in the house under lockdown, which obviously caused a whole other load of problems. And as I said, people working from home together, I love my boyfriend unconditionally. Could I have survived him living here with me, working from home with me? Thank God he's a courier. No, I couldn't. No, I put my hands up. And there are a lot of people that will say the same. You know, let's be honest here. And a lot of people, all the small things that were an issue in their relationships really did become a big issue. And I think even just the last point, you know, as a general rule, you know, mums that are at home with their children, dads going out to work, mums are they do their daytime job, their work. Behavioural issues or something with children that parents or dads or who the parent that wasn't always at home didn't see, suddenly they see this stuff in their children, causes rows, causes problems. Like worms, cans and cans of worms have been opened in households. Let's put it that way. And we're kind of here now going, okay, we'll contain these, let's mop them and start getting them back in now.
It's funny, I don't know, guys, if you can see, just before I come to you, Gemma, I just want to shout out a couple of people have been commenting. Kim's part of our family. Much love. Heidi is going to say, morning, ladies. Heidi's our onboarding specialist, and you guys will be seeing a lot of Heidi. I'm scheduling a live with Heidi as well, and Kim. And we've had Kim before. Laura Riley. Hi, Laura. Laura says that she's been struck down by COVID. Everyone.
Right.
It's right, and it affected. There's nothing that COVID hasn't affected, you know, business, lives. From your point of view, Gemma. By the way, Laura, I hope you're feeling better. Drop down in the comments. I hope you haven't got long COVID. I hope you're starting to feel better, or that you're over it. So much love to you, Gemma. From your point of view, how have you seen COVID affect the people that you go to court with?
So what COVID did is it created a perfect storm, and it still is. I think for me, one of the things that became apparent very, very quickly was everyone who had a contact order, child contact order to see the children. The resident parent was using that as oh no, we can't possibly do this, which was compounded by the government, if you remember, being very wishy-washy about, oh, can you go and travel and see your children? Can you go out of your jurisdiction to have your contact? But the resident parents were using that as a well, we're not doing it. So that had a knock-on effect, because I had a lot of people coming to me going, listen, not seeing my child for so many weeks, they've broken the order. Well, they're simple. We've got to get back in court and do a C79. We've got to do. We have to put an enforcement order in, because what you allow will continue. Enforcement orders, by the way, 99.9% of the time do not get enforced. But it's picture painting. It's painting the picture for the amendment of an order, basically. So I saw a lot of child contact issues where people were using COVID as like a safety blanket, or thank God for that. Little Johnny doesn't have to go and see his dad. I don't have to drive halfway, you know. So it created a perfect storm for a lot of people to be unreasonable for no reason.
Yeah,
I agree, fully.
And I think it's funny because we see it, look, in life, we see it from the people that we deal with in court, from the people who are in the supermarkets, you know, who perhaps don't necessarily think about standing so close to people. People just don't think. So I agree with you, actually. It's a perfect storm. In fact, Laura agrees with you. She says, so do I. Thanks. It's still early days at the moment. I'm surprised to be on holiday. Oh, lovely. Oh, well, Jill, I hope you're somewhere nice. I was supposed to be going away. That kind of never happened. Not bitter about it at all. In terms of the training and the family, tell me a bit how you guys have found the training, both the initial training and the kind of ongoing training. Jodie.
The training was really good, really in depth, easy to understand, definitely, and ongoing is great, because even anything that happens, you're there on hand kind of to help us. Then obviously we do the training every couple of weeks. It is helpful. I think we're doing another blog training this week, because I can't do them. I think this is the second or third now. And as you pointed out before the call, you pick one thing up every time. I literally pick one thing up every time. Honestly, but if you tell me how to handle something in court, it's in there. I think it goes back to that. I'm still a human. I know what I enjoy doing, and I know what I don't enjoy doing. And what I do enjoy goes in like a sponge, and what I don't doesn't quite hit the mark. But it's okay, because even if I am having an issue, Stephen's on hand. I'm not sure how many SOS messages he's had from me. I think even the other week, I couldn't get my emails to work on my phone, and I was like, Stephen, help. There's actually nothing really to do with him. It's just me being an idiot. And he said, well, just restart your phone. So the support and training is second to none, especially if there's something you're not like hot on. And we all help with it. You know, next week we've got training. I found something that's quite useful, so I share it with everyone. Gemma will find something that's useful, she'll share it with her. It's the support and the training is, yeah, can't fault it at all.
Oh, brilliant. What about you, Gem?
So all I remember is having this interview from you, like going back to what I was saying, thinking, oh my God, what's this? And then I thought, oh yeah, I'm going to do that. So I paid for my training. About a week to 10 days later, this parcel got delivered. I thought, what the hell is this? Michaela said, I'm going to send you a little bit of reading. A little bit of reading.
The
oh
Bible.
My God. It was Family
Law
Law
Bible.
2019. It was about 700 pages. And I thought, what the hell have I got myself into here? Anyway, I read it, right? What she didn't tell me was she didn't want me to read it till after we'd had our face-to-face training. So Michaela came over to my neck of the woods and we had some training, face-to-face training. This is pre-COVID. And she started going about, oh yeah, I've read that. She went, what, you've read it already? I was like, yeah, because I think it was I think we had about a 6-week window. She went, oh, most people don't read it till after the training. I was like, well, most people should be reading it before the training because it gives you not that you take it in, by the way. I didn't take all this in and think, oh yeah, no, one of them 600-700 pages. And it's a learning process, like we said, and we all learn off each other. And that's the great thing about it. We're called family law assistants for a reason, because we are all family and we do help each other out at the end of the day. And that when Jodie and I first got involved 12 months ago with the franchise, I think we just thought, oh yeah, we're going to do this. I didn't even really give it any thought about the team growing, and now the team's growing hugely, and we're all going to share that wealth as well. So the training for me was invaluable. The ongoing training is invaluable, but the real learning process is getting in court, writing them position statements, reading the reports, writing the witness statements. You can't, there's nobody can teach you that. That is, you learn that as you go along, really.
And I just, as a note, because I've got a bit of a complex now, but I remember, Gemma, you turned up in a suit. I remember thinking,
oh yeah, I did, yeah.
Official. It's very official. And then, speaking of throwing you in at the deep end, I think it's fair to say that both of you have been thrown in the deep end. You, Jodie, your first ever case following training. Tell people what your first case was.
I was at the Royal Courts of Justice for an abduction case. And I think it was only about 3 or 4 weeks after we'd sort of officially done stuff. And, I'd done bits in the background before. I'd done sorted the franchise out, and Michaela was like, oh yeah, by the way, and can I just add, this is my proudest moment. It was in the Royal Courts of Justice, which wasn't technically open. We tried to do it the old-fashioned way because you couldn't get hold of anyone. So I went up there, and I'd never been there before, and the building is stunning but huge.
It's like Hogwarts, isn't it?
It's, oh my God, it's beautiful. So we went and did the normal process pre-COVID, and I sat there, and they were like, oh no, you've got to go here, you've got to go there. I did about 18,000 steps that day, walking around RCJ. Anyway, I was like, I'm not leaving here until I speak to a human or get something. And the final person I spoke to actually in the end took my paperwork to the judge and said, please, can you stamp this? Because whatever. Anyway, an old friend of mine who was a barrister's clerk said to me, you've achieved more than most barristers and solicitors are achieving at the moment. Fair play. And I was like, that's me. Done it. Like, literally, I did not back down until I got what I wanted. And I walked away that day with a stamped order in COVID from RCJ. So, yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to it all opening up again, to go and spend a day, how it really works, because it was ghostly quiet there. It was weird. Really, really eerie, but I did it.
And I was so ridiculously proud. There we are on WhatsApp, you're wandering through the cloisters of this great big Hogwarts, there's no other word for it really, banging on. I just had this image of you sort of just banging on court doors.
I was banging on doors. The last time I was like that. And the woman came out, she's like, can I help? I was like, right, seriously now, I need help. I can't cope. And I will tell you now, I walked out of RCJ, took myself round and got myself back on the train, and I got to Euston. And that Marks and Spencer's at Euston Station, which sells the lovely little cans of gin and tonic, was like a saviour. I ran in, I picked one up, and I was like, ah. And I'm not even ashamed to admit that. I've never been so happy to see M&S.
Honestly, one of my proudest moments. Somebody's just messaging and dropped a message now. MK, do you get clients with English as their second language? As I'm considering to train as a Mackenzie friend later in the future. Absolutely, we've got our team is like, of course, I'm going to say this, obs, but our team is bilingual, international. We've got Harshada, who well, she's just amazing. Actually, she does a few mic drop moments with me. I didn't realize when I went on a live with her, I learned something new every bit. Normally when I do lives with people, I've got a fair indication about, you know, our team, and she mentioned that she was only doing some children rights activist stuff way back in India. And I'm like,
oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then she said, oh yeah, and you know, she was in the paper, she was on the television. I'm like, are you shitting me? Seriously. So, yes, yes is the short answer to your question.
Well, I think that just going on to that question, we're not all English in England, so we are going to need people. There are going to come times where, you know, one of the boxes you tick on a C100 form is English your first language? Do you need an interpreter? Yeah, so straight away, it's going to take a massive, having as many people with as many languages as possible on board filters that out, because straight away you're not going to have problems on forms when we've got someone who can cover that. So definitely, the more languages, the better. I struggle with English, so
I don't know. I think you do both things very well, Gemma. I want you, as we're talking about first cases, because, you know, to be fair,
my first case was like, looking back at it now, even if I'd had this case now 2 years in, it was so complicated. Basically, it was it had an international element because the mother and father had lived in Cyprus, so there was a lot of litigation going on from there. But we had to get it into English court. It was an absolute nightmare. Thank God we had a really nice judge who was lovely. In fact, the second or third time, it's like, oh, Gemma, yeah. Oh, nice to see you. Nice to see you again, Miss Connolly. That's before I sat down. I'm like, yeah, nice to see you as well. It was fine. It was, you know, but it was so complicated. It came with, I remember my client going, oh, we've got to go to court for this thing. And I'm like, they've just given me a bundle and we're in court the next day. And he drove to where I was to give me the bundle to read before I had to get on the train to go to Manchester to go to real life court. And the ironic thing was, when I read the bundle, I was like, there's a whole section missing from this bundle, which was police reports. So this particular case, because it'd been going on so long and the children were not, you know, they were still quite young. We managed to get a guardian appointed. So we had this massive bundle, and I spoke to the barrister for the children, and I said to her, where's section, I can't remember what it was, 19? Sure, it's in there. I said, oh, no, it's not. So that's the police reports, etc. And she said to me, well, I can assure you it is. I said, well, I can assure you it's not. I said, so I'll be in my office over there. I said, you come and find me when you've had a little look. So we sat there and we waited, and my client's getting well nervous by this point. He's like, do you not think we should go over and say anything? I said, no. I said, we're not going over. I said, it's for her to find it. It took her an hour. She comes over. Excuse me, Miss Conley, I'm ever so sorry. Yes, I've had a look, and that section is missing. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to see the court clerk to see if we can rectify this situation. I said, oh, thank you so much. I do appreciate it. She said, by the way, you're not allowed to read this without me being present because you're not a solicitor. You're not legally qualified. I said, oh, it's no problem. I'll come over to your office when we're ready. And she got the whole section out and we read it. So, yeah, it was like, looking back at that, that was scary because that was probably one of the most complicated and challenging cases I've ever done. And it was my first one. So anything after that is pretty easy.
I have to say, I remember my first case, and today I probably wouldn't even take it on. Just horrendous. And yeah, a bit like Jodie, it was scary, it was nervous, but a slam dunk of a result. And I remember that high. I mean, Jodie and Gemma, you've both experienced that high when you've got what you want for your client's happy, your client feels heard, which is a huge thing. Being self-representing, that high, something never even.
And just one more thing, my client said to me before we went in court, we've been in court once, so this is like the second time. By the way, if mother says, "Can I stand up and say objection?" I went, under no circumstances do you stand up and shout objection. I went, in fact, don't speak unless I said, if I kick you under the table, that means shut up because you're over talking it. Do you know what I mean?
That, you know what, Gemma? That's a blog in itself. You just shout objection. Can you shout objection in court?
What have you been watching? This is not how it works in real life courts. Objection. I'm like, oh my God, seriously.
I swear to God, Hollywood's got a lot to answer for. I mean, the reality is that in real life court, you're waiting around a lot of the time and drinking crap coffee.
Oh, waiting around all of the time. If it says it's listed for 10:30, do not believe it, because you ain't getting in that court till at least 2:30, 3 o'clock.
Yeah, exactly. So, guys, before we go, Jodie, one word to sum up how it's been with family law assistants.
Well, that's a really hard question. There's too many. Fulfilling.
Ah, I like that. I'll take that. How about you, Jen?
Dead easy. Amazing.
Oh, brilliant. Guys, thank you so much for being a part of this family. I for one value and enjoy, and I can't wait till we actually get to see each other as an entire team at our get together in October. Just in case, for those that don't know, both Stephen and I are taking our franchisees and their partners for dinner, bed and breakfast, and of course a photo shoot. But aside from that, it's just going to be really, really nice just to see each other in person and really kind of gel with each other. When we think about what we've already completed in a year, and that's online, I'm excited about the future. Guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching, guys.
Thank you.
Catch you later.
See you later.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye. Bye.